Welcome to Gardening with Miss Heather. Today I want to talk to you guys about vermiculture. The last day of gardening, somebody came up to me and said, Miss Heather, when do we get to see our worms again? Well, we won't be seeing our worms live for a while. I made sure they had some food before I left. I actually went back on campus and fed them and made sure they were damp enough so they should survive this quarantine period. But just in case, I happen to have some of their sisters and brothers here. Worms don't have brothers and sisters, you guys know that, but that's okay. Remember, worms don't have gender. Worms are both male and female in one. We already knew that though. Anyways, so I have some of their siblings, we'll just call them siblings for now, in my worm bin here, which I'm going to show you. I just turned them and refed them recently, so they're really healthy, looking good. But I wanted to go over what we can feed them. I think you already, most of you know, but just to make sure, I always thought eggshells would be too sharp for them. But actually, if you crush them up and put them in there, they love eggshells, which is odd. So this is my compost bin. This is a typical compost bin. You can buy it on Amazon or at any hardware store. It has a nice lid with a filter on top so your house doesn't smell like old rotting food. Very important for us parents. We don't like that in our house. And then you can put anything in there like your avocado peels, your banana peels, and what they love most are coffee grounds. I drink an espresso every morning and this is what's left of my espresso. I just pop it in there and the worm, they're as addicted to coffee as I am. So that's what we can feed the worms. The things that we should not feed our worms are any kind of citrus. They don't really like onions, and they really cannot handle any kind of meat or oil products. So no sandwiches with mayonnaise or butter. You can put dry bread in with them. They like dry bread, but it's got to be truly dry bread. Don't put wet bread in because it might mold. Bread molds pretty quickly, and I don't like mold. That can hurt them too. So those are pretty much the rules. Once, should they have too much citrus, what happens is that their skin gets burnt and they cannot breathe anymore. The same goes, that's with onions as well, and garlic, things like that. And then you don't want to put oil in there either, because the oil does the same thing. It coats the outside of their skin, and since they breathe through their skin, they can't breathe anymore, and that will kill them. So we don't want to do that to our little wormies. So in a minute, I'm going to open up my worm box and I'm going to show you the worms, and I'm going to show you how I feed them. It's going to be a little tricky. I'm not used to using the camera yet. This is all new to me, but I'm super glad we can be out in the garden together, and I hope you guys are all doing great. I'm beginning to miss school and miss you guys a lot. So let's go into the worm bin. It's right behind me. This is this black thing, and I'm going to show you what's in there. You can see the worm bin. There's my compost. We're going to open up the worm bin. Oh, there it is, looking good. There's a few flies. Now I'm going to move this back and look. Oh my gosh, look at all those happy worms. Look at that. Wiggle, wiggle. So worms can eat about twice their body weight a day. So I have been feeding them very well, and thus we have so many yummy big worms. Look at all those worms. You see them? So I'm gonna just let you guys look at that for a little bit. It's pretty cool. Now if you notice, as soon as they can hide, they do. They really don't like being in the light. But what's that? There's a lot of rotting food. So it's not really rotting. There we go. You see them? There we go. And I use a mixture of shredded paper. And if I run out of shredded paper, I can just take a newspaper and rip it up. Or you don't want to use a magazine. You don't want to use anything with colored print. But yeah, this is just, I think this is like from my shredding machine. But if you don't have a shredder at home, you don't need to worry about it. You can just take a newspaper or any old kind of paper you have that is not shiny and put it in here. Now, some people think this is really gross if the banana peel has this label. Don't worry about it. The reason I say don't worry about it is when you strain it out later, it will just be there. If they're paper, they can be digested, but if not, then they'll just pop out when you get the compost. And I like to sprinkle it around a little bit and not keep everything in the same place. But some people have different theories that you should only feed your worms on one side or the other. Look at all these worms though, they're just so happy. So we're doing something right. So when we get back to school, I'm gonna have lots and lots of worms for us. They love their coffee grounds. Bye, take care. It was fun talking about worms with you today in my garden. I hope that you are all doing great and that I'll see you soon. Bye.